Hey guys, I'm Ethan Moore from Stockroom Supply. A question I've been getting all the time lately is on the Camvacs whether they should buy a 2-motor or a 3-motor version. So this is 2,000 watts versus 3,000 watts or 2.7 horsepower versus 4 horsepower. Now, in almost every case, the 2-motor version is going to be fine for most guys. But there are 3 main times where you're going to wish you had the 3-motor version, and I'm going to go through that right now. So the first thing would be continuous operation. Now each one of the Camvac motors, so we got these 3 individual switches, each motor can be run for about 40 minutes, and then it needs a cool off period of about 10 minutes. So if you want continuous running with 2 motors, the 3-motor version, you can have 2 motors on, run for about 30 minutes, turn one of the motors on, another motor, or one motor off, another motor on, and you can achieve continuous running just by rotating these switches here, so giving the motors a break every now and then. The other reasons are related. One would be if you are using more than one machine at a time, so more than one dust port you want to run at once, or if you have a machine like this Laguna bandsaw here that has more than one dust port. So this Laguna has a 4-inch dust port on the bottom, 4-inch dust port on the top. You are going to want the 3-motor version. Now the beauty of these units, they both produce an incredible amount of suction or static pressure. When I double the dust ports there, what I do is actually reduce the pressure because there's more room for air to go through. So when I reduce the pressure, I actually need the extra CFM that the larger 3-motor unit will produce to get the best dust collection possible if you are using more than one machine at a time, or your machine has more than one dust port. Now if you have a router table that has 2.5-inch dust ports, not a big deal. 2-motor version is going to handle that just fine. But if you have a machine with a 4-inch and a 4-inch, or a 4-inch and a 2.5-inch, another good example of that is the saw stop. Very common saw. You got a 4-inch port in the bottom with an additional 2.5-inch port up top. This would be a good candidate for a 3-motor version. Now, a lot of guys think it depends on if you're going to have it hooked up to a full shop ducting system. Really doesn't matter. Both units will work great traveling through ducts because they both have the high static pressure. But what makes the difference is how many ports they're sucking through at once. So if you have one machine at a time with a 4-inch or smaller port, the 2-motor version is going to be great. But if you are using more than one machine at a time, or have a machine with more than one dust port, you're probably going to want the 3-motor, or 3,000 watt, or 4 horsepower, whatever you want to call that there. So yeah, I hope that kind of answers your questions there. If anybody else has any questions, you can email me at info@stockroomsupply.com or just comment on the video. Thanks for watching.